is Tammy, and today I am going to show you how to recreate this scene in Adobe After Effects using masking, planar tracking, color correction, and green screen footage. As you can see, you can take a look at what is going on in the scene. Alright, let's get into Adobe After Effects now. Alright, once you get into Adobe After Effects, I started off by making 4 compositions. One called Signs, one's called Rain, Background, and Main. First, rename all of them would probably be the best solution. I'll start off by explaining it. Main is for all adjustments for every layer, while background is only for the background layer. And this is where we start off with, as you can see here. Now I have imported in 2 Photoshop layers that I've already recreated into the composition. The depth mask is used as a displacement map. As you can see, when I turn off the color correction, that it goes from black to white. What it means is that those that are affected the most are the lightest, while the others that are not affected are the darkest. Alright, let's turn that off. Now go into the search bar and type in Displacement Map. Click and drag it onto the base. Afterwards, once you get to the base, you'll notice that there are a few options. The first one is the map look. Change this to depth. Afterwards, you'll notice the horizontal and vertical max. Turn that to lumions from red and green. This is so that I can read the black and white of the depth layer. Now you can use the slides to scroll back and forth and see how the environment moves. As you can see, when I move the max horizontal, as you can see here, if you move the sliders too far forward or backward, parts of the depth maps will break off. This is one of the disadvantages of using a 2D image to create a 3D scene. Yeah, correct that. The next step is recreating this lightning shot. As you can see, the environment gets brighter and brighter. However, it also blends in afterwards. First, I made a glow and color correction layer. And I applied curves to it first, so that the scene would be color corrected to this dark and stormy version of the composition, as you can see below. Now, if you'll note, when I move these sliders to the keys, parts of the sky will be adjusted for light. This is because I'm messing with the glow threshold. As you can see here, this would be the curves I used. After I got done adjusting the curves to how I like them, I used a photo filter and put it at cooling filler 80. What this filler does, it puts a tint over the whole entire background. Then I used glow. And see, when I'm adjusting the threshold, it's not apparent at the highest percentage, but when I adjust it to a lower percentage, it begins to resemble the lightning scene that you've just seen. This is a easy solution for the lightning effect, especially when it comes to lighting. After I'm done with background, I'm going to be moving on to the rain layer or composition. As you can see from the original footage, this is the green screen version. Then you can see in the original comp that the green is gone. This is because in the scene color, I took the eyedropper and adjusted it to the green of the scene, and it removes it for me. Since rain is slightly transparent, it's not as noticeable, so I'll be correcting that using adjustments layer. Sharpen curves to make it low saturation and fit the background so that it doesn't stand out too much. Hue and saturation. I turned down the saturation because at the nighttime scene there's low saturation. And I turned up the lightness so that it wouldn't blend in too much with the background to be indiscernible. Next, I adjusted the exposure and messed with the gamma so that I would have a slight blue tint to rain. Although I know this is not exactly what gamma is used for. In this case, it fits with the background and is not noticeable in the end product. Now I go into the main. First, I drop down the background and the rain. As you can notice, I also made a new composition for the sign because I do not want the glow of the sign to encompass all of the scene. I adjusted the curves so that the sign wasn't too brilliant, a bit of blurring, and another curve so that it would fit it within the scene. And then I added a new layer of solid color and made it into a mask since I didn't want the glow to shoot out completely from the composition. I also feathered the mask so it would be soft as well. And I also used lightened. Going back. After dropping the sign into the scene, I went into the background and I used a 3D camera. This camera track basically looks at 3 points and decides from these 3 points the best plane for the object. Now, since I already used it, it doesn't say create null object in camera, which you can see in my scene here. What I did was for the sign, what I did here was I parented the sign layer and the glow layer to the null layer and tracked that so that I wouldn't move with the scene. And then I parented the null to the 3D camera. And afterwards, now my composition is set and ready to go.